Hi, I'm Larie, and welcome to month 1 of your at-home Strengthen and Sculpt training program. What you need for this at-home training program is dumbbells, bands, long bands, and mini bands, and you will also need a workout bench. Now, if you don't have the workout bench, you can replace it with an ottoman, with a chair, with just some sort of elevation. If you need an additional substitute, please feel free to comment below and I would be happy to give it to you. Now, this is not my typical follow along workout. This is a workout for you to do on your own time, at your own pace, and to progress yourself. During this intro, I'm going to go over how to follow this program. Then after this intro, you will see every single exercise demoed. First thing that you need to do is go into the description of this video. Click on the Google Sheets app link. That will take you to the program. Once you open that program is locked. You're not going to be able to edit it, write down your reps. So what you need to do is just simply make a copy. After you make a copy, it's your own, and you're going to be able to record your sets, write down your sets so you can progress weekly, and write any additional notes that you need to make for yourself. Be sure to record your weight with the number of reps you achieved every single exercise for every single set. It's very easy to forget what you did the week before, so make sure that you record it so next week you can get even better. Because we are using a progressive overload technique in order to get better, to get stronger, and to achieve your goals. So every single week you can progress either with weights, with reps, with tempo, better form, and or just a better mind-muscle connection. There are many different ways to progress yourself. If the previous week you were on the high end of the rep range, I would suggest increasing the weight. If you were on the low end of the rep range, you can either stay with the same amount of weight and try to increase the reps, or do a little bit of both. Make it your own and try to get better at every single exercise. We will be following this program for a minimum of 4 weeks. My goal is to have a new program out for you guys every single month. However, you can definitely follow this program for longer than a month. I typically have clients follow a program anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks. That's going to depend on the individual and their goals. In this program, we have 5 training days, 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. Of course, you could rearrange it however you see fit. We have 3 days where we combine lower body with delts, and then we have 2 days where we combine back and arms. Abs are thrown in throughout. The order of exercise is listed alphabetically and numerically. So for example, if we have 2 exercises listed as A1 and A2, we're going to complete A1 and A2 before moving on to B1. If you have any questions about that, please comment below and I would be more than happy to answer them for you. As far as rest periods, they are not monitored, so take as long as you need in order to perform your next best set, unless otherwise specified. The first week we are getting used to the exercise, so this is our acclimation week. This doesn't mean easy by any means. I still want you to challenge yourself, but really concentrate on making great form and great mind-muscle connection. Week 2, we're gonna try to get a little better, try to bump up the weight. Week 3, even better. And week 4, best week yet. A little terminology, AMRAP means as many reps as possible with good technical form. So there are some sets where we're going to perform as many reps as possible, but once we cannot move the weight and or our form starts to slip, the set is over, we have failed, and failing, my friends, is a good thing. That's how we get stronger. Tempo, I do have some tempo listed. The first number is always the eccentric or lengthening phase of the muscle. So I'm going to take a bicep curl, for example. The eccentric is the lengthening phase. As we lower, the muscle gets lengthened. The second number is the number in between the eccentric and the concentric phase. And the concentric phase is the shortening or the contraction of the muscle. So eccentric, second number is the pause in between the eccentric and concentric. The third number is the contraction, and then the fourth number is the time between the concentric and eccentric. That's probably very confusing at first. I totally understand. It will get easier with time. Just always look for that first number and remember that's where we're going to lengthen the muscle. For this training program, all muscle groups are being worked. There is quite a focus though on building that hourglass shape. So building your delts, building your lats, building your glutes, and strengthening the entire body. Again, if you have any questions about how to follow this program and or need a substitution for these exercises, please comment below. This month, we are using very limited equipment, but next month, we may be adding in some additional equipment. So let me know what you have at home so we can get even stronger during month 2. On to the demos and happy training, my friends.
We begin your workout today with some dead bugs. Reach opposite arm, opposite leg while keeping your spine as still as possible. We're targeting your transverse abdominal here, so feel that corset muscle get tighter as you bring the arms and legs back together. Maintain a 5 count eccentric as you lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 count, press it up. Keep a semi-neutral grip here. Keep your rib cage stacked over pelvis. Core stays tight. As the reps decrease, aim to increase the weight on every single set. This is a great exercise for mobility. Keep your elbow really tight to the rib cage as you open up and pulse with that quarter rep. For these lateral raises, we have a 2 count pause at the top and a 3, 2, 1 count lower. Take the dumbbells slightly in front of the body and pretend like you're pouring a glass of water at the top. That'll really fire up your medial or outer delts. Core stays tight in this hip hinge position. Pretend like you're going around a beach ball. Squeeze the delts, the back of the delts at the top of this movement. Take these dumbbell goblet squats slow and controlled. Even on the concentric, we're taking it for a 3, 2, 1 as we use the glutes and quads to bring us up to that starting position. Aim to increase the weight as the reps decrease. This variation of a dumbbell lateral raise will just allow for an increased range of motion at the bottom and the top. Pause at the top, feel the outer portion of your delt fire up, keep the shoulders down and away from the ears throughout. You can use a dumbbell or a barbell for this variation of a dumbbell banded hip thrust. You're driving into the band and you're holding for a count of 3 at the top. So squeeze those glutes at the top, maintain that tension as we hinge from the hips down and up. We're setting our hip thrusts with a banded clamshell 1 to 1/4 rep. The target here is the glute medius or upper outer portion of the glute, so feel it contract twice before bringing it back to center. Be sure to get full range of motion with these walking lunges. You can tap the foot or skip the tap. Aim to increase the weight selection as the reps decrease. We end with bodyweight reverse crunches as the knees drive towards the chest. Really make that mind muscle connection to the lower abdominals. Onwards to day 2, we begin with banded pull-aparts. Keep the band right around chest level, and as we draw the hands away from each other, squeeze the rear delts or upper back on the way back. Keep the core tight and the hips level as you drive the elbow towards the hips. Squeeze the lat. As the reps decrease, aim to increase your weight selection. Set your bench up to approximately 30 to 45 degrees. Take the elbows in a semi-pronated position, so about 45-degree angle. The target here is your rear delts. Keep your spine nice and neutral, and if you don't have a bench, just take it to a hip hinge variation. Set your bench up to approximately 45 to 55 degrees. This will allow for a greater stretch at the bottom. It's going to fire up the front of the delts as well. If you don't have a bench, just perform it standing. Band horizontally here. Drive the elbow towards the hip as you keep a neutral grip. Squeeze the lat twice on the way back as we add the quarter rep. Your band behind you and think about keeping your arms fairly straight as we drive your hands towards your hips. This will help bias your lats over your triceps. We'll then add some abdominals to the mix as we drive it up and out, control it, squeeze the abs at the top. Your band right around forehead level. As you draw the elbows away from one another, add the quarter rep, squeeze rear delts during the quarter rep. Keep the band position right where it was with the exercise before. Hinge from the hips, arms stay straight, hands draw towards the hips, squeeze the lats during the contraction. Anchor your band underneath your feet. Make sure you have equal resistance in both hands. Squeeze the biceps on the way up, control it on the way down. Elevate your toes to allow for a deeper stretch in the calves. Add the quarter rep at the top. Squeeze the calves twice during the quarter rep. Keep your back nice and neutral and still throughout. At the bottom of this movement, feel your lower abs. Draw your heels towards the sky. On to day 3, we begin by warming up your transverse abdominal as well as your glutes. Reach opposite arm, opposite leg while keeping your hips as still as possible. For week 1, begin this exercise with a conservative weight selection. Keep your traps and your shoulders away from the ears as we take it to an upright row, externally rotate open, press it up, and then bring it back to center. A 4-part movement, squeeze medial delts, feel the anterior portion of your delts, draw it inward, and then control it back to center. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Set your bench up to approximately 60 degrees. This will allow for a deeper stretch in the front portion of your delts. Take it slow, take it controlled, and as the reps decrease, aim to increase the weight. If you do not have an incline bench available to you, just perform it seated. Set your bench up to approximately 45 degrees. Make a Y with the hand. Pour out that cup of water at the top to fire up your medial delts. Substitution, perform it in a hip hinge position. Maintain about 80% of the weight in the foot that is flat and 20% of the weight in the kickstand foot. Squeeze both glutes at the top. This will bias one side more than the other. Do your weaker side first if you have one. Maintain a wide stance, heels in, toes out, 3 count eccentric, 2 count pause at the bottom. This variation will fire up your quads, your adductors, and your glutes. On your bench, rotate your hips slightly inward. This variation allows for extra range of motion and will light up your glute medius like no other. If you do not have a bench available to you, just ditch the extra range of motion and perform it on a mat. Have a dumbbell in the contralateral hand and support yourself with the off hand. Maintain a slight hinge forward to bias the glutes, but maintain a neutral spine throughout. This exercise is absolute golden. Chef's kiss. During an RDL, the hardest part of the movement is right here where the glutes are most lengthened. Adding this band will then also work the glutes when they're most shortened. So squeeze and press against the band at the top as well. You can progress this exercise with your weight selection and or your band resistance selection. On to day 4, today's focus, back, arms, and a little bit of abs. We begin by warming up the rear delts. So squeeze the rear delts on the way back, control it on the way in. Anchor your band above you. You can also use your door attachment handle. Quarter rep at the bottom, squeeze your lats, squeeze them again, control it on the way up. This exercise is very similar to day 2. We're just switching up the grip and the muscle focus. Semi-pronated grip. Now we're targeting your rear delts at the top of the movement. I'm recommending going a little bit lighter on this variation because we squeeze those rear delts twice at the top. Anchor your band right around eye level. Now we're pulling down at a slight angle, around 55 degrees, give or take. Keep a neutral hand position. Drive the elbow towards the hips as you squeeze your lats really hard on the way down. Anchor your band right around chin level, so we're taking the band at a slight angle down. Squeeze your rear delts on the way back. Get a big stretch on the way in. If you have a bench, perform these double crunches on the bench to increase the range of motion and stretch in the lats on the way back. Squeeze hard at the top. 3, 2, 1 as you lower with control. After each set, you'll ditch the dumbbell and continue with body weight double crunches until technical failure. Perform these on a bench as well so you get a deeper stretch in the anterior portion of the delt as well as your chest. Of course, if you don't have a bench, you can perform on the mat. Go slightly lighter for these dumbbell chest flies. Think about going around a beach ball and keeping a long lever and feeling a big stretch in the front of the delts and the chest before contracting on the way up. Try not to hinge from the elbows. Maintain a neutral grip as you take the dumbbells to the sides of the head. Feel a big stretch in the triceps before contracting them to the starting position. Maintain a neutral spine as you feel your lower abs burn. If you want to add a little extra something, raise the head, but keep a neutral spine to add the upper abdominals as well. Aim to increase your time every week. We've come to our final day and we're going to warm up with some bird dogs. Connect to your transverse abdominals, the delts, and your glutes. Maintain a neutral spine and think about keeping your rib cage stacked over the pelvis as we engage your glutes and your quads on the way up. Increase the weight as the reps decrease. Elevate your back foot so we could really bias that front leg. Brace yourself with the offhand, really slow and controlled tempo. Feel your glutes, feel your quad especially drive you up. Core stays tight throughout. Aim to increase the weight as the reps decrease. Really lift and control this movement from your glutes. Press up and out into the band. This bench will allow for extra range of motion, but if you don't have it, perform on a mat. Be sure to keep your spine and your pelvis neutral throughout. It's what I call a character building exercise. Half top range of motion only with a slow, painfully slow tempo. It is a 3, 2, 1 count pause as we lower. 3, 2, 1, 2 count pause at the top. Keep tension in your glutes throughout. Keep your rib cage stacked over pelvis as you hinge from the hips and just light those glutes up. Your hands in a semi-pronated position, so elbows slightly in front of the body. Be sure to get full range of motion as we take it down for a 3 count eccentric. Aim to increase your weight selection as your reps decrease. This is an exercise to really progress. Get ready to burn the outer delts by adding the quarter rep at the top. Keep your upper traps down, so keep the shoulders down and away from the ears as we add the pulse. Squeeze medial delts more. After each set, shake it out And then it's lateral raises, normal tempo until technical failure. And we cry a little, but it's good. Now let's hit the front of the delts. Rotate the palms from a neutral to pronated position as we bring the dumbbells to right around eye level. We're not done burning those medial delts out yet. Anchor the band underneath your feet. Hold an iso squeeze with the medial delts at the top. Alternate one at a time. Humbled. We've reached our final superset. Keep your hips level as you lower down. Right forearm, right hand, left. Then switch it every single rep. We'll superset that by immediately going into bodyweight plank shoulder taps. Aim to increase your time every single week. And we are done. Virtual high five, my friends. If you have any questions, ask below. Great work.